I'm Kevin Charles, employment lawyer, barrister at Crossland Employment Solicitors. This is a guide to redundancy. There are 4 hallmarks to a fair redundancy. Anyone involved in the process, whether it's from a company perspective or an individual perspective, ought to be aware of these basic elements. Genuine redundancy, adequate and meaningful consultation, selection criteria, and alternative employment. Dealing with the first hallmark, genuine redundancy. This is relatively wide and it covers a scenario where there is a complete closure of the business. It covers a scenario where there is a relocation of the business or an office. And it covers the more common situation where there is a reduction in an employer's needs for employees carrying out work of a particular kind. That basically means you have less of a need for a receptionist, business manager, whatever the role is. That's the definition of redundancy. Moving on to the second hallmark, adequate and meaningful consultation. And the buzzwords here are adequate and meaningful. What does that involve? Having individual meetings with the employee at risk of redundancy. During those meetings, it's important to share with the employee all of the proposals regarding the redundancy, the selection criteria that's going to be used, and giving the employee a reasonable and proper opportunity to discuss the proposals and to make representations. One point that is often overlooked at this point is once the selection criteria has been applied and the individual has indeed been selected, it's really important to share with the individual his or her scores so he understands exactly why he's been made redundant and he has the opportunity to comment. The important thing here is that, first of all, you have to decide the pool from which employees are going to be selected for redundancy. Now, there's a big myth that pregnant employees cannot be made redundant whilst they're on maternity leave. That is a myth, it's not true, and they can be included in a pool for redundancy. The pool should include all employees who are carrying out the same or similar type of work. The employer then has to apply a selection criteria which should be objective and it should be reasonably applied. Criteria you can take into account and you can rely on things like attendance records, providing you discount any attendance which is due to disability or any attendance, or should I say failure to attend, which is due to maternity leave. You can look at other verifiable records such as PDRs, for example. Moving on to the final hallmark, and it's important that an employer doesn't fall at this final hallmark, and that is alternative employment. The key here is that the employer takes reasonable steps to consider whether there might be any alternative employment within the organisation for the employee at risk. And in a large employer, it may be sufficient to provide the employee with a vacancy list detailing what vacancies are available, and the employee can be left to look at that himself or herself. In smaller organisations, it may require a bit more exploring whether there are any vacancies or any vacancies are likely to come up. Providing an employer follows these 4 essential, very important steps, they should be in a very good, very strong position of successfully defending any unfair dismissal claims that may arise out of a redundancy situation, and any individual employees at the very least will be much better informed and aware of their individual rights and what to expect.